Welcome to Law and Society. Please subscribe and let's talk about Donald Trump's next false narrative. So, a few days ago, JD Vance went on television and said that Biden's economy is a dumpster fire. Mind you, economists and people who have been cynics of Biden's economics they've been proved wrong from the first day. They said that there was going to be a recession for the first 2 years, and then they had to swallow their pride and accept the fact that the economy was growing at a steady rate and it had surpassed the growth of all other advanced economies in the world. Then you have Biden's Infrastructure Act, Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIPS Act, and you have the money that comes from that going into infrastructure projects that will go into infrastructure projects for the next 10 years. So Biden's economy and the stock market is at a record high. By any measure, Biden's economy is as strong as any economy has been, American economy, since at least Bill Clinton's presidency. Biden added more jobs to added more jobs in America than all of the other living presidents before him, and he has made a generational shift in protecting ecologically sensitive areas, as well as balancing that with drilling where drilling can be done safely and fracking practices that can be practiced safely to get oil and gas to a point where America is now the largest producer of gas and oil. We have to transition. We have to transition into renewable technology. And we're seeing the necessity of that every single day with the climate crisis. And the climate crisis pans out in ways of extreme, longer, slower, and wetter hurricanes on one side, and drier, more intense wildfires on the other side, and takes the country's weather cycles for a loop, where you have, the southern part of the country that rarely gets snow, gets frozen, and people are just not equipped to deal with these climate extremes. They will be as our country is rehabilitated and the infrastructure is strengthened under Joe Biden's legislations that were passed and the money that will be dispersed according to those legislations. Unless Donald Trump tries to undo them, which Congress under Mike Johnson and Majority Leader Thune seems to be complying to doing, that's where this false narrative comes into play. That Biden's economy is a dumpster fire. So when Donald Trump wrecks the American economy by whether it be tariffs or tax cut to the rich, or whether it be by dismantling the regulatory state, when our country starts to spiral out of control, that's when JD Vance can go back and say, remember when I told you back in January before we took office that Biden's economy was a dumpster fire? We are dealing with that now. That would be their calling cry, and that would be the propaganda that they're going to spread at the time. When the truth is, and the truth that you must not forget right now, is that the American economy at this point, today, the second week of January 2025, is the strongest it has been in decades and leads the world in strong advanced economies. And President Biden and Vice President Harris and the Blue Congress for the first 2 years of Biden's presidency made that possible. by being one of the most productive sessions of Congress in legislative history and one of the most productive presidential half terms, let alone full terms, in presidential history. Just by the weight of what he did in the first 2 years, we're going to move forward if Donald Trump doesn't do anything. But if Donald Trump tries to repeal them, that Biden's measures, and goes on to implementing his drastic measures of tax cuts and indiscriminate drilling by disturbing our ecosphere and not giving a crap about the climate crisis, then they're going to get to go back and blame Biden for the dumpster fire that was left behind, when that is not the truth. So keep that in mind. It's going to come up later on when they take office and when they wreck the economy by doing the things I just said. With that said, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Please remember to like and subscribe.